tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what you actually do and specialize in.
Thanks, Carol. Well, I appreciate you having all of us here. What I do is a little bit different than most coaching. Most coaching out there is, whether it's all designed about succeeding in some area of your life, and usually it's focused on a process. Make 20 calls, see if you're in real estate, make these calls, knock on doors, that kind of thing. It's about a to-do list, right? And keeping you accountable to that. Well, that's not what I do. I don't touch any of that because let's face it, how many success books or success models are there out there like that? What's keeping you from following that formula? Every morning you wake up and a feeling comes up, you're like, I just don't want to do it. That's my expertise. That feeling that pops up that's keeping you from the success you want, whether that's in your business, your personal life, or your athletic life.
So what are some of the things that you've been able to help people with?
Trauma. People who, whether it's, some sort of abuse or something that's happened in their life, addiction issues. I've suffered through multiple addictions. My life was a complete train wreck. That's what makes me so good at what I do, is I've lived it and overcome it. So that's a big piece of it. Fear of success. People would say they're afraid of failing, but I've never met anyone who is, because if your life isn't where you want it to be, you're failing each and every day. What you're afraid of is success, because that feeling that comes up over having to make that one new choice, that's what's keeping you from succeeding. And that's really what people are afraid of, that more than failure. And so that's really one of the biggest areas I get brought in for.
All right. So what is the typical process that your clients will go through? So when they call you, kind of what it is, obviously you have to find out, but then what?
Well, the first part is fleshing out what's the block, what's coming up that's keeping them from what they want. Most people, because let's face it, what are we taught about feelings? Don't have them, don't talk about them, don't deal with them. Yet literally every single choice you ever make in your life, every single one starts with a feeling. Every thought is a byproduct of what you feel. The single greatest tool we need to succeed, none of us have been taught. And so that's the first process. It's an education of realizing that most people don't even know. I woke up at 10, 12 years old and found my mom passed out naked on a toilet, because nobody taught my parents and nobody taught me how to deal with that. Because of that, I went and became a sex addict, a love addict, a spending addict, a sugar addict, a tobacco addict, alcoholic. I had 2 horrific divorces, a child custody battle, bankruptcy. I played 2 pro sports I never wanted to play, and I contemplated suicide. And that's life for everybody, because nobody teaches us that every choice we ever make is based on a feeling. We don't have that skill. So it's going to take a little bit of time to give you those skills. But in general, my clients will see an immediate improvement within 1 to 3 sessions, and then a concrete improvement between that 3 and 12 months, depending on the person and how they go about things.
What I like about you, first of all, I think that you're a no baloney kind of guy. You go right down to that's what it sounds like to me. Also, that you obviously have been through it. That you're walking in their steps, and you've been in their steps, and you've changed. And I give you kudos for that.
Thank you.
But I love that about you, because at least you can relate to them, and a lot of people wouldn't be able to do that. So that's neat. Also, depending on what you're dealing with, especially if, let's say, you're working with a family, you might start off with the one member, but I know that it's always got to bleed into the other members, that's for sure. Also, in your business, there might be one area that you may think that that's where you're failing in, or what have you. Then you find that it really might be somewhere else, or maybe that there are other areas. But again, once you start working on yourself too, you always want to get better, don't you think?
Yeah.
I think that most people do.
Well, because we start feeling better.
Right.
Let's face it, what are we chasing every day? Why did you wear what you wore? Why do you eat what you eat? You're trying to feel better. Well, we haven't been taught how to do that. So that's what I teach people, is how to feel better, because what we tend to do is make choices that make us feel worse. And so we're stuck on this pattern of feeling worse. And so because we haven't been taught, there's a certain process to go through, and that's what I teach.